Yeah, I'm not going to do the GoFundMe. It's going to be very regrettable. It's going to turn into a whole shit show of all these shit tier commentary channels talking about what a greedy piece of shit I am and stuff. It's not worth it.
Why, hello there. Allow me to introduce myself. Nezquik here, shit tier commentator at large. And yeah, what the hell was that clip there, huh? In order to explain it here, we've got to do a little history. But first things first, I wanted to make a note here. I'm not usually the kind of guy that does pressing, hot topic news kind of stuff. But today I felt that there was something more to be said. A veritable teachable moment here for you folks. So let's just jump into this, all right? Now that was Ethan Klein, one half of H3H3 Productions, whom, if you don't know who they are, what the fuck are you doing on this channel? They were extremely popular commentators, arguably some of the kings of commentary back in basically the mid-2010s when they really started to kind of rise up. Now obviously, their most famous role was being in one of my videos, but you may also remember them from such classics like Vape Nation or the formation of the FUPA Fund, which, for those of you who know what that is, basically, H3H3 Productions made a video about a guy called Matt Haas. He got all kind of pissy about it, even though it was relatively lighthearted, kind of some light jabs, you know? And he decided to then abuse the copyright system to copyright strike the video off their channel.
There's one. Oh no! No, the fucking space pirate fucking took my great flow! Fuck you!
They made a video discussing how terrible and awful this was. The community rallied behind them, Philly D, all the other commentators. They came together, they put their money where their mouth was, and they gave H3H3 Productions the money to fight the guy in court, which they did, and eventually they won. And not only that, they decided to then form the Fair Use Protection Account, aka the FUPA Fund, which they would pour the remaining money they had from the lawsuit into, and from there, anyone who found themselves in fair use and kind of legal hot water because of that, because of bullshit copyright claims, they could then ask for the money, and if approved, they can then use it to fuel their own lawsuits to defend themselves. It was a great, happy, warm, fuzzy feeling kind of moment. We all kind of came together, you know, and if life were a coming-of-age 80s movie, that's probably where things would have ended. But regrettably, you do not live in a universe of cheesy movies. Instead, you live in this hellscape. This man is your president, the inflation is no longer transitory, and you are currently watching a Nezquik video at the moment. There is no hope for you. So no. Unfortunately, the FUPA Fund was pretty quickly scuttled as essentially they ran out of money. My understanding is this kind of comes down to poor management, and it's not truly Ethan Klein's fault, although he does kind of catch some of the public blame for it, for being the public figurehead of it. I think Nicholas Diorio has a pretty great video about it, so I'll link that below. But that fell apart pretty quickly. As too did Ethan Klein's mental state. If you look at the H3H3 channel, you'll know it's oddly bereft of content. It kind of goes through weird spurts. That's because it's largely been abandoned in favor of the H3 podcast. The H3 podcast, like most useless YouTube podcasts, is basically an excuse for Ethan Klein to kind of spout off whatever stupid fucking opinions he has on whatever stupid fucking topic of the week that pops up.
He's never made me orgasm.
Unfortunately, as time's also gone on, his ego has really started to inflate quite a bit. He starts picking a lot more fights, he's getting more bitter, less energetic. He's just overall, just not as good as he used to be, H3H3 Productions as a whole. And that takes us to more recent times. Enter one Ryan Kavanaugh. Now, Ryan Kavanaugh is a co-founder of, and pretty big muckety-muck in, a publisher called Triller. Essentially, they're famous for doing a lot of events and whatnot, and specifically boxing events. You might remember one of them, 2021's Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, a wholly underwhelming fight. It was actually pay-per-view, and it was like $50, I think, too, so not cheap. Well, anyways, H3H3 Productions, who has a hate boner for Jake Paul and loves to kind of talk about this kind of stupid YouTube drama, decided to cover this topic. And they used a lot of clips from the Triller broadcast, which is kind of a no-no. And unfortunately, this is one of those places where fair use, I think, totally applies. I think his clips were basically in fair use, but it's kind of a known thing here on the internet that using sports broadcast clips they're very touchy about that, and they will sue you. So when H3H3 Productions decides to, in their podcast, go ahead and start putting out some of these clips, it's a bit dicey for them. Especially when Ethan Klein opens his big, fat, stupid mouth and it says, "Oh yeah, I didn't pay for it, I illegally downloaded it, ha ha ha."
Which is absolutely insane. 1.5 million pay-per-view orders. I didn't pay for that shit. I almost did, but Ian came through with the link. Daddy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna play cool.
You didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't do anything.
Ian, you sent me the link. Come on. You had like
doing.
backups on backups and backups. I was like, this one's not working. I'm going to buy it. You're like, hold strong.
You're both fucking retarded.
Anyways, apparently Triller catches word of this, and they're none too pleased, so they slap H3H3 Productions with a giant lawsuit, claiming millions of dollars in damages and losses. Thankfully, for the entirety of the YouTube community, the lawsuit goes nowhere and is basically laughed out of court. Now, look, I say thankfully not because I'm an H3H3 Productions fan, I think that's pretty clear at this point, but because the lawsuit was totally bullshit. When you look at it, it was fucking stupid. And I think H3H3 was well within fair use, so there's no real problems there. The thing is this, Ryan Kavanaugh, say what you will about the guy, he is determined though. And so he then files a second lawsuit, which immediately collapses because it's basically misfiled. Yeah, you'll find out pretty quickly here too. Ryan Kavanaugh is not the hero we need. Frankly, Ryan Kavanaugh's greatest nemesis is Ryan Kavanaugh. Now, while this is going on though, Ethan Klein is doing the most sensible thing here. He's laying low, he's staying quiet, he's not trying to attract too much attention to himself. Oh wait, no, he's being a fucking loud retard, because he just can't help himself. So here's the thing. You think that if you won a lawsuit like that, and he was a little nervous about it too, I think he's gone on to mention this, you'd think that you just kind of wouldn't poke the bear anymore, but no, instead he decides to continue going after particularly Ryan Kavanaugh. At some point in time, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for this short-tempered retard to come at you full force. Well, he came at you full force, because now we have the most recent affair here where H3H3 Productions, specifically Ethan Klein himself, is now being sued for basically defamation and slander by Ryan Kavanaugh personally. And thus, we get this clip here, which I'll let play.
I was fucking feeling bad. I was worried. I couldn't sleep, you know, and I just felt like, sometimes it just feels like I'm alone in it. Like the last time there were so many people involved, that this time coming here and seeing more people and seeing all you guys supporting me, like I felt much better this morning.
What a leggy.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the GoFundMe. It's going to be very regrettable. It's going to turn into a whole shit show of all these shit tier commentary channels talking about what a greedy piece of shit I am and stuff. It's not worth it. News, I don't know, like Philly D covering is awesome. More people talking about is awesome. I'd love to see some traditional media people, you know, talk about it. You know,
Hollywood Reporter.
Now, what struck me immediately, I can say unequivocally that the FUPA Fund would not happen today given current H3H3. And I think it's pretty simple why, all right? One, H3H3 Productions is just not as relevant as they used to be. Now, I've covered this topic before, plug. But the simple truth is, at this point in time, Ethan Klein and H3H3 Productions, and I kind of use the two interchangeably because they basically are at this point. Hila has departed. The only other talent you consistently get on there are these stooges.
That's my fucking take.
Fair enough. Agree with most of that.
What do you disagree with?
Well, I mean, no, I guess generally I do.
Beta!
But anyways, at this point in time, the channel, Ethan, H3H3, call it what you will, they basically exist in the same capacity that Trisha Paytas exists, or maybe a year or two ago, Boogie 2988 existed, wherein they basically just jump from controversy to controversy. And that's kind of all their notoriety is. There's a diminishing number of people that actually unironically like them, and instead there's more and more people that are kind of hate watching them, or just watching the train wreck, so to speak.
Oh my god!
That's not to say there still aren't millions of views that they're getting, and tons of money, I'm sure, but their relevancy overall, the number of people that actually care about them and like them, is diminishing. At this point in time, Ethan Klein is just the bitter boomer at this point. He's just the guy that's known for picking fights with people. Is it Steven Crowder this week? Is it Keemstar this week? Is it James Charles, Jake Paul, Ryan Kavanaugh? Is it Trisha? You know, it seems like every week this guy's got a new fucking enemy. No wonder nobody's rushing to his aid. There's also the pretty obvious fact that this lawsuit is really more earned than the others. Now, I don't want to make it sound like I think this is legally sound. As far as I can tell, being a complete nobody and definitely not a lawyer, this lawsuit kind of sounds bullshit. Ryan Kavanaugh is clearly just a salty bitch, obviously enough, and he's just kind of throwing whatever shit he can at the wall, hoping it'll stick. But that being said, you admitted to kind of stealing from him, let's be honest. He got all pissy and upset. Did he overreact? Definitely. That Triller lawsuit and the subsequent lawsuits are bullshit. But then you didn't help yourself. I feel like if Ethan had just let well enough alone, this final lawsuit wouldn't have happened. And the final reason, and I kind of can't believe I have to say this, is Ethan Klein is personally a millionaire. As far as we can tell, the dude's fucking loaded, you know? And I know some people are going to say, well, Nezquik, he wasn't directly asking for money. Like, dude. I know he mentions he's not asking for money. He even says, yeah, it would go over very poorly. And he's right. Shocker, he actually got knocked one out of the park with that one. But here's the thing though, if people were supporting you, there would be a side of it that was purely monetary, because as we know...
While there's many shows we're currently working on right now, one of them could use your help. And by help, I mean money.
Yeah, that's correct. When a YouTuber says support, they oftentimes mean money. You guys know that if Ethan Klein saw the formation of the Fupa Fund 2 on his behalf, he would lovingly take the money and the support. Particularly considering the fact he's referencing what happened in the past and the creation of that fund being a very big part of that, one of the more notable parts of the story. It seems fair to me that he's insinuating something like that. The thing is this, it's harder to feel bad about the financial security of a man who's already made millions at this point. He's going on this kind of tangent about how it's an attack on fair use, but it kind of really isn't though. He's not abusing the copyright system like Matt Haas. While you can make a case that this started out, its roots here, fair use wise as to could he use the clips or not, at this point though, this lawsuit has nothing to do about fair use. It is about you and Ryan Kavanaugh having a dick measuring contest. So realistically, all that is on the line is money. And look, if some guy's got no money and he's staring on the barrel of this kind of lawsuit, there'd be more support for him than if you have a millionaire who's worried that maybe he's going to lose a few $100,000 fighting off a, what I can tell, kind of BS case. Maybe it was when you bought that, $5-6 million property. Maybe it was when you have this whole fucking studio and you hired these apes to help you out. Maybe it's when your wife has that disgusting fucking clothing line. What was it, Teddy Fresh? Jesus Christ. Every time I see someone in Teddy Fresh, my respect for them goes to zero. Yeah, actually, no, I call ye right now. If you see someone wearing Teddy Fresh, stone them. I mean that completely seriously. This is not a joke. Wink, wink. But I think the bigger point I'm trying to make here is it's just amazing how much times have changed. Not only the people involved have changed. Can you believe that this man is about 35 years old? Jesus, the internet is a hell of a drug. But no, I'm kind of talking about how the YouTube community has changed and how, how fleeting things can be sometimes. I mean, at this point, it almost feels like the greater and broader community doesn't really exist much anymore. It feels like people are just so bitter about, the increasing corporatization of YouTube. It feels like the big YouTubers are just increasingly out of touch and they don't really know what's going on with the common viewer or common, small content creator, or they're just kind of immune to some of the bad things that happen. It's difficult for everyone to come together because people don't like each other anymore. Like, for example, many aspects of the commentary community, I'm sure, would have rallied behind the defense of this lawsuit if it had been against Tommy C, or if it had been against Kavos. But no, it's against H3H3, a big, very smug commentary channel sitting right there at the top, right? Seemingly getting preferential treatment from the website. And that just kind of rubs people the wrong way, I think inherently. So I don't know, maybe I'm kind of spitballing here, but it feels like we on YouTube have kind of lost something that we had even just 5 short years ago. The community doesn't seem to police itself as much. The big players don't seem to interact with the little players as much. Anyways though, I'm just kind of spitballing here. Hope you guys got something out of it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.